I monitored 2 bedrooms for 48 hours, and I thought the data would be boring. But it turned into the fingerprint of our life. And honestly, I didn't expect that. To do this, I set up 2 BME 280 sensors in 2 separate bedrooms. These sensors measure both the temperature and humidity of those environments. And this time, I labeled the events as they happened: doors opening, showers, and bedtime routines. And nothing fancy, just life as it happens. I started logging at midnight to get a stable baseline. I wanted to start capturing data while everything was calm. Everything was quiet. And then the first surprise showed up. Can you guess what it was? I opened the door to wake my kids for school, and the temperature and humidity shifted almost immediately. Scientifically, this is largely driven by the fact that the hallway air is now mixing with the bedroom air, and I've seen similar phenomena when I mounted my sensor to a shark vacuum and allowed it to go room by room in a previous field notes experiment. Speaking of earlier field notes, one of the lessons I learned from those early videos is to label everything. And as a PhD scientist, I know that, but I needed to focus on capturing even the mundane activities, the boring stuff that helps me add context to this data. Things like opening the door, turning on the shower, and just logging those events that allow me to add that context back to the data. For this setup, I'm using a BME 280 sensor. It measures temperature, humidity, and pressure, and wiring it to an ESP32 microcontroller. The wiring is actually pretty simple. Power, ground, and 2 communication lines for I2C. That's it. The ESP32 reads the sensor every few seconds and sends the data wirelessly over Wi-Fi using MQTT. All that data gets published to my Raspberry Pi, which acts as a central hub, so each room can stream data in real time without any wires running through the house. It's a small setup, but it turns each sensor into a wireless data beacon. And once it's running, the house is basically telling you its story. And now that we have more data, we can see that all of these regular activities leave a mark on the data, even something as routine as opening the door and turning the shower on. And this spike in the humidity data makes it really obvious. But here's what surprised me the most. The 2 rooms didn't move exactly at the same time. Sometimes one changed first, sometimes one changed more. Each room responded on its own timeline. So I really wasn't just measuring rooms. We're measuring the life that happens inside, the events that make the room that change the temperature, that change the humidity. And despite us moving throughout the rooms, they each have their own unique chemical fingerprint. When I animated this as a heat map, it really clicked. You can really see the life happen as you move throughout this house. And here is an interesting contrast that I saw in the data. While temperature and humidity are room level, very local changes, pressure, on the other hand, was not. It was global. If you look at the pressure traces, the rooms move together. And this is largely driven by the larger climate, the place our house is physically located, and the larger climate patterns that happen around it. So next, I want to bring you to the kitchen. We're going to annotate more data, we're going to bring more sensors, and we're going to have more activities we can track, like cooking and cleaning, to see how that impacts the room. So we don't just live in our homes, we shape the environment. And once you start measuring it, you realize your home isn't static, it's alive. And we're a part of that system.